Welcome back to Lemon Lane Cottage. Today we are going to take a look at the perennial bed here in May 2021. It is uncharacteristically cold for May. We do have a thing called May gray where it can be gray in the morning and then warm up in the afternoon, but we have just been flat out cool. It's only going to be in the low 60s today. So for me, it seems like the perennial bed is about a month behind where it normally is. I've had the first flush of blooms on the roses, so I've had to snip back those just a little bit. They still look really pretty, so I'm anxious to show those to you. But some of the more sun-loving perennials are kind of holding back. But on the good flip side of it, some of the spring annuals and spring perennials are hanging in there. So let's go ahead and take a look. I just finished cutting everything back. I did pull back some of the annual alyssum that was getting a little scraggly, and most of those adorable little white daisy mums that come up from every spring, most of them are gone. I will judiciously leave some because I want them to self-seed. I love to see them come back in the spring. It just tells me the flowers are about to explode. So that is all the chit chat I have for you today. I want you to enjoy the perennial bed. I will be back later in the week to show you the potager, which I also did some work on. So let's go ahead and get this tour going. And as always, thanks for stopping by. We have settled into May gray here in Southern California. It is a chilly, for us, 50 or so degrees in the morning, and only warmed up yesterday to about 61, which is unusual. The perennial bed is looking beautiful. I just did a clean out of the spring flowers to make room for the summer flowers, the summer perennials to shine. This is a midnight salvia. It has almost a black color. When it first comes out, can you see that? And then it opens to this beautiful dark blue. This is about the third year that I've had it. This is a hardy geranium. It is not the cranesbill that I have all over the perennial beds. It is a different one. It doesn't spread quite as well. It's a little woodier in the stem. You can see I put some status in here. This was from seed this year. I added annual bachelor's button, annual salvia, just the kind you get from the big box store. That's hardy geranium, and that is just a little plug. Here's another one here that I have added just to the front of most of the border, just to kind of help suppress the weeds. That's that raspberry angelonia. I have a few Iceland poppies left. They're not looking their peak, but they're still holding their own. The alstroemeria will go for probably another month flowering, and then it will die back and give me another nice flowering in the fall. I have lobelia and alyssum along the front border. I pulled most of the alyssum, but you can see it's already reseeded itself, and it will do that all summer long. It's a little dance we do. I pull, it grows. There is actually a little rose, if you can see it back in there. That will be moved hopefully this week while it's still cool up to the front of the border here somewhere. Not sure where, but I'll find a place. That is Tamara Rose, one of my favorites. She actually is a little too large for right up front here, but she's too pretty to move. This little beauty is actually Edith Starling. She is one of the Downton Abbey collection. She didn't do great last year, but this is her second little flush, and I see there are more buds coming along. This is that cranesbill, that hardy geranium, and you can see it can be a bit of a thug. I keep cutting it back and moving it, but it still can get away from me if I'm not careful. This here is perennial salvia. The bees love it. But we've not had much sun for the bees to come out to. I really cut back the status. That leads us into the potager, which I will share later this week. I whacked down the dill, which is another battle that I have. And then as we cross over, you can see most of that annual mum that pops up everywhere has been pulled. I let some of it stay to go to seed because I think it's charming. Another nice stand of Peruvian lily, alstroemeria. This in here is a monika rose, and it's been moved several places. It's not supposed to stay this small, but I've moved it out to the border here, but it gets dwarfed so easily. I'm hoping this will be a good year for it. I'm trying to, you can see I have tried to give it some breathing room, pulled out some things, and so I'm just going to try to keep better on it so that it can establish itself and feel at home. Borage self-seeds in my garden everywhere. Some I let stay, some I just have to take care of. Try to move, but it doesn't move very well. It does not like to be transplanted. Here's another good example of that hardy geranium. It looks pretty there, but I actually cut it back quite a bit to get to this tickweed, Horeopsis, that was in here. This is actually Roman chamomile, as opposed to German, which gets taller, and I didn't know when I put this in the difference. So it has kind of spread out here. A couple of foxglove that were planted from seed. Not sure if they'll flower for me this year. I am excited to see if I can move this for you. Coneflower is coming back. I also put in a couple that I planted from seed. There's actually 3 of them in here. And I did seed for slugs, or pellet for slugs. It's supposed to be organic, not harmful, but I don't want those eaten. The best little tomato plant I've ever put. It gives me plenty of little cherry tomatoes for salads every single day. The row of peppers was doing well, but then the weather turned and got cold, so I'm sure it'll slow down for a while. Apple tree will give us apples continually for a couple of months, which is nice. Trying to think of what else is in here for you. That is an established coneflower. That is one of the new ones I put in. So there's actually, I think, 8 in this bed now, which I'm so excited about. Sage is looking good. I've let this lettuce go to seed. I don't know why, but I did. I have several of this white nemesia throughout the bed. That is, I think it's a salvia of some kind. I'm not sure. It is a perennial. Variegated thyme has started to flower. Variegated sage looks beautiful, and I am very pleased with the scabiosa, the pincushion flower this year. This is the best it's done for me. White salvia, perennial that comes back for me. This is one of my original roses. It's been in the garden probably 12 years and has actually been moved. The coloring is a little off for my garden, but I love it. More scabiosa. Columbine down to its last little flush for the year. And the daisies. I've actually been cutting the daisies for a couple of weeks now. But you can see the more you cut, the more they come, which is such a happy dance. I still have some mint in here. I pull it as I see it, but I know it's not ever going to be truly gone. This here is Russian sage, a mini Russian sage, a dwarf, I think. It has like a nice silvery foliage to it, so I can't wait for that to mature. More tickweed, coreopsis, more roses. These are Gerber daisies. I don't expect a show from them for a couple of months. And that large patch of Alstroemeria. So that is the Perennial Bed Tour, May 2021. It has been unusually cool. So I think I'm a couple weeks behind in what's blooming and what's gone and what's hanging on and what's coming in. But it's all still so very beautiful. How are your perennials doing? Are you finding the weird weather has you behind, ahead? What's going on? What have you planted that has been your most pleasant surprise? Share it in the comments. Also share your zone so people who read the comments know what they might be able to grow in their area. I'll be back later this week with a tour of the potager. I can't wait to show you what's growing in there. I'll see you in the next video.